Okay, so I think everyone's here. Just I think one more person has to join and then we'll get started. So some ground rules, like I was saying, let's go back to Safari, share. Okay, perfect. Right. So I don't want to just spring this on you out of nowhere, but while you're presenting, please turn on your cameras and pin like the sheet. There should be one team member that should be like sharing the screen, and maybe like pin that on your screen for whoever's watching. But yeah, so one team member should be sharing their screen, and whoever else is part of your team can sort of voice over. So I hope that you guys have maybe decided this among yourselves about who's going to do what slides or who's going to do which slides. But yeah, so one person should be sharing their screen and the rest of you can just voice over maybe. Okay, so some of you cannot turn on your cameras. That's fine. I mean, if you have like some technical problem, that's fine. But please do and try turn on the cameras. And 6 minutes maximum. Because we have quite a bit of students presenting today, and we are pretty short in time. So keep it 6 minutes tops. Yeah, that's kind of all there really is to it. So one person share your screen. You should be controlling the slides and the rest of you can sort of voice over. Yeah, so any questions before we begin? Nope. Okay, so the first person, one sec. Yeah, so the first person is Chandni Mehta and Ananya Dandi. Sorry, I really am bad at names. So if you guys can maybe share your screen and get started whenever you're comfortable.
Asha, you still haven't added me to the list.
Yeah, sorry, Zuha, I remember. I'll do that now.
Could you just enable screen sharing?
Yep, one sec. Just give me a second. I'm trying to figure this out. So does anyone have any idea how we're supposed to like do the whole sharing your screen thing? Because I can't find any option here to allow you guys to share your screen.
There's a small
At the
arrow
bottom
next
of your
to
screen, you can see this share screen option. If you hover on it, you get an arrow, the tiny
I
one.
can see now. Thank you so much. Thanks. Are you able to share your screen now? I clicked on the.
Okay, so hey guys, thank you so much for this opportunity, first of all. And this is our pitch, and we've named it Dog Bots.
1 second.
Okay, for those of you who don't know me and Chandni, I'm Ananya Dandi. And for words that you can use to describe me are weird, funny, smart, and annoying. My interests are all the pictures I've just sprinkled on the slide. Me and Chandni are really good friends. We're in the same school, same class. We took the same stream, PCMC.
Okay, so I'm Chandni. I'm the one on the right. So 4 words to describe me would be kind, cute, amazing, and fun. And most of my interests are the same as Ananya's. So here we go. So now, why do we really need dogpots? Do we really want to stay in a world where people need to risk their lives to save ours? So that's why we came up with DocBot, which is literally an AI-based robot doctor. Now we know that doctors and nurses are getting infected, and there is a lack of health officials. Thus, DocBot kills two birds with one stone. It does not just reduce the workload of doctors, but also provides added benefits such as long-time efficiency, no breaks, and full-time care.
So the main idea that we have come up with is a healthcare specialized robot which can act as an interface between a doctor and a patient and carry out basic diagnostic and treatment processes without the risk of transmission of virus. This robot's got it all: speed, efficiency, and accuracy. But there should be some kind of new tweak, right? Here it is. With the consent of the patients, these bots can go through the patient's past medical history in order to create a personalized treatment for faster recovery.
So here's where we are better than the rest. The DocBot, T's and C's of life, not only care about your medical needs, but also simultaneously takes care of your mental health by talking and periodically conversing with you. Now, our tailor-made and personalized treatment results in faster and more efficient recovery. Now, to answer the question of training data, it is based off a comprehensive study done using every single coronavirus and SARS case, be it critical, mild, or even asymptomatic.
At first, it might be creepy to have a robot in your room all the time, but I think we can all agree that it is the more convenient and cost-friendly option for an matrix patient who need attention all day. The second problem is the age-old problem, that is, it would replace doctors. Of course not. It's not going to replace doctors. It's not going to put doctors out of business, as there will always be some surgeries which need the human touch. There is a need for supervision, even if it is a robot.
So we put thought into this and realized that it was economically feasible and technologically acceptable. And we hope this pitch makes a difference in your lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Chandani and Ananya. That was really good. Thank you. So I think the next person we have here is Saloni. So if you can also get started. So again, this is like going to be 6 minutes tops. Yeah. So I think, yeah, Saloni's next.
Hi. Are you someone are you someone who has strict parents who never let you go outside since quarantine has started? Are you someone who just wants to go outside and have some freedom but is too scared? Or are you just someone who hates crowds? Well, I've got a solution for all your concerns. Where? So first, we will in this pitch we will be discussing who am I? Why are we doing this? Why am I doing this? What is the problem, and how I can help you solve this problem? So, who are we and why are we using AI? Well, my name is Saloni Salian. I am an 11th grade student in James Modern Academy. My likes and dislikes are unimportant to this project. So why are we using AI? Why AI? So artificial intelligence, as we've learned throughout this course, is a faster, better way of just analyzing data. It is more efficient than normal standards. It has a it can learn faster, and after you put in the data, it can soon learn on its own and start working on its own. And it has so many other functions that we as human beings can't do on our own, nor can normal computer methods also work as efficiently as artificial intelligence can. So why this project? What is the why behind why I decided to create Where? Everything we do for this project is for freedom. We believe that people need freedom to best express themselves. And the way we did so is by creating Where. Our product helps people attain the freedom they crave by giving them information so that their safety is ensured and their health is safe. So, our problem statement, what is our problem statement? People don't have enough crucial evidence on where they want to go post quarantine. What does this mean? Since quarantine restrictions have been lifted, people are now venturing out into the open world. But just because quarantine has been lifted doesn't mean that the problem has been solved. COVID-19 is still a problem that is among us, and the pandemic is still going on. But you still want to go outside, right? You can't stay at home forever. You can't be trapped forever. And what better way than to take advantage of the fact that you can go outside? Well, this is where comes in. Where is an interactive app which uses real-time data provided by end users, social media, and official media sites and news sites in order to help the everyday person track the population density and the spread of COVID-19 in a particular place. The data that Where uses is location of the user, social media of the user, live satellite imagery, and official news documents. This is our input data. We take that data, and then what we turn it into is the population density of a particular place that you want to go to, and it helps track the spread of the spread of the virus. The machine learning setup that Where uses is a mixture of computer vision, more specifically image classification, and natural language processing. It uses computer vision in order to accurately and quickly analyze satellite imagery, which creates a model for the population density of a place. The natural language processing is used to track the spread of the virus by reading through official news articles as well as social media sites. Thank you for listening to my presentation. If anyone has any questions, please be free to ask.
Yeah, you said it'll use social media platforms to track the spread as well, I believe, right? But there's a lot of fake news, especially on social media. So how will it filter that out and only take in like the real statistics?
Okay, thank you for your question, Algrim. So I modeled this app after using a few ideas from previous AI that we have studied throughout this course, such as Blue Dot. So how this uses social media is that it basically how the use of social media is used is basically it tracks the information of someone saying, oh, I've been feeling unwell, or I have a cough, or I have a cold. So it takes this information and it helps create a accurate model. I do understand your concern that social media is filled with false information, and that's why we also use official news sites and news documents and official country statistics in order to help create a more comprehensive model. Social media is used because the everyday user is not always there just to spread false information. It could be something as innocent as just saying, oh, I had a cold yesterday, or I went to the doctor yesterday to get tested. So a lot of people are coming out and sharing their situation, and these people can help create a more comprehensive model. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe there are no more questions. So thank you for listening to my presentation and my pitch.
Thanks, Saloni. That was amazing. So I think, yeah, thank you for the question. If anyone has any other questions, you can maybe unmute your mics or even drop them in the chat box below. But I think one thing I kind of like missed out on, I just wanted to remind you that there are 3 prizes today, which is the best overall idea. What is it? Yeah, best overall idea, most innovative idea, and the best pitch. And I think I've sent you all like the judging criteria. So I think I hope you guys know what you're working with and what we're looking for in pitches and stuff. Just wanted to say that in there because I forgot to say that in the beginning. But anyways, yeah, so everything is going pretty well. Let's move on to the next team, which I think it's Agrim and Ojas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'll just share my screen.
All right.
Okay. Are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Which
see
I
you.
turn my camera on.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hi, guys. We're here, and our company name is Gulakar Inc. Right? We're just going to go to the next slide.
Yeah. What? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, hello, this is Ojas on the left, and I'm Akram Gulati. This is us at Stargate over there,
Yeah.
you would see it.
Right. Okay.
Right, so let's move straight on to why we're doing this. What's the reason of the startup? Why did we start this initiative?
Yeah. Okay. So, Agrim, will you go ahead or should I?
Go ahead.
Okay. So essentially, the goal of our startup is to come up with an effective prevention scheme and a plausible solution through inductive reasoning to solve the crisis of COVID-19. Yeah. So we have found several ways to do this, which we will go on. Yeah.
Right. So what the problem is here is that in an ideal world, like we wouldn't ever have to wear masks, we wouldn't have to social distance, like we wouldn't have to be scared for our lives every time we go to get groceries, right? But today the world is not normal, and we know that the state of the pandemic is not getting better, and scientists have failed yet and again to find a cure for this lethal virus. So, however, most scientists have only tried the traditional methods to find a cure, which, I mean, fair to them. But our idea is that we use AI to find a cure and a method of prevention that would help everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now moving on to our solution. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We here at Gulakar Inc. have come up with two forms. We've come up with a form of prevention from the disease and a form of like a potential cure or a treatment. Right. So our form of prevention is the Daddy Bot. Okay. Daddy Bot is an AI chatbot that ideally every citizen with a smartphone will be required to download. It'll be like an app, right? You'll be required to talk to it every time you leave the house. And you might be wondering, why is it called Daddy Bot? That's a pretty weird name for a chatbot, right? Well, because it's going to be asking you questions that typically like a parent or a father would, right? It's going to be like, oh, where are you going? Who are you going with? How are you going to get there? What's your plan, right? Okay, because it needs to know where you're going. So it tracks if that area is a hotspot, and then it can potentially advise you to not go, right? Okay, so as you can read there, like everyone with the app will be connected. So the server will know where everyone is at all times, pretty much, if they have their phone at least, right? So it'll prevent any crowd from forming, like too big of a crowd from forming anywhere, right? And if a user decides to leave the house despite being advised against it, it will be illegal, hopefully. The authorities will be informed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now moving on to how Daddybot will work. A lot of you might be curious about how the machine learning function will work in this app. And we'll just explain before we go into that, we'll be explaining any problems that come along with Daddybot, which
Yeah,
include,
right. With every great
no,
idea like ours, there's going to be downfalls. And these are the downfalls. People might think that it might be an invasion of privacy, that it's going to be tracking them at all times, right? But as I said before, the world is not normal anymore, and we have to make certain adjustments to our lifetime if we want to even hope to cure the virus, right? And these adjustments will be drastic ones, but it's the way we'll have to live. Okay, and talking about defaulters, people who are like outlaws, let's say, right? They leave their phones at home. They think they're so smart, they leave the house, right? What do we do then? Well, hopefully there will be a law that will take legal action against people if they are caught. But what I want to bring attention to is that most people will not do this, right? It will mostly be most people obey the law, and it'll just be a few idiots, mind my language, who will do something like this, who'll be the defaulters. Right, and I understand that LEDCs or poor countries may not be able to afford this kind of implementation, right?
Yeah.
So this is
If
mainly
I may
targeted
interrupt,
towards the MEDCs.
For the LEDCs, it's statistically proven that more of a population in LEDCs have smartphones than toilets. So we can safely affirm that the majority at least, will be following the apps, following any procedures the app might have to offer. Okay, moving on to how corona affects our body and coming up with a solution. So, as you can see from this image, it's quite unclear what's happening, but this is an alveoli. And here, the debris that you're seeing is formed by coronavirus transmission that travels through various mediums, right? So, let's take the analysis of smoking. If you ever had a friend who started smoking, then our first natural instinct is to tell them to stop. So, obviously, our lungs are essential. And sometimes, even though you wear a mask, coronavirus acts as though it is a lottery ticket. Some end up asymptomatic, and some can even end up in death. So, what coronavirus basically does is it blocks the pathway between much needed oxygen and our bloodstream, leading to acute respiratory distress syndrome. This can cause coughing, sneezing, the symptoms that we're all quite aware of, and this can cause difficulty in breathing and possibility of death. Essentially, we're not going to target the virus in itself and finding a vaccine to kill it, but we'll be finding another solution to attack this unique problem. So it's essentially a three-step cure. Companies such as ours can work to synthesize a compound with the assistance of AI that can break down this mucus and debris. And vulnerable patients will be hosted in ICUs, and an endoscopy will be performed for the compound to enter the alveoli to prevent ARDS by fragmenting the mucus. So this procedure can be done either by inserting a tube through the nose or the mouth. Um, and essentially, after this step has been done, there are two options, and it depends on the vitals of the patient. So, the first is if the mucus or the debris is not in a large quantity. If it's very marginal, then we can let it enter the bloodstream because through research we understand that letting microparticles into a patient's bloodstream causes virtually no effect because it's basically filtered out if it's in minor quantities. This process may last basically 4 to 8 days. It may cause minor discomfort, and this is basically for the physically fit demographic. The other option that we have is to begin extraction. The extraction process will last a little longer, and this would be done through the tube through slow suction process. This may cause some inconvenience to the patient, obviously, but they will ideally recover without any complications. The extraction process is for the more vulnerable patients, which include children and old liable people. So this process may take longer, but it can assure that the patient will not be harmed in any through any long-term side effects. So we can have that assurance by our side. Yes, Aru?
Right. So now, how would we create the chatbot? Basic, this what it says, right? So in the beginning, like our model, DaddyBot, will be a supervised form of machine learning, right? The training will be mainly command-based. What I mean by that is there are going to be some essential questions that you will have to answer before leaving, and then everything else will be kind of like follow-up questions and what the bot interprets like will be necessary, right? Like the essential question will be like, where are you going, how many people will be there, and how are you going to get there, right? And basically, let me just show you how it works. Okay, so the input, if you say, oh, I have to go out, then it asks you where you're going and respond to the first question, and then it asks you a follow-up question or another required question, and then asks you another follow-up question until it's satisfied with the answer, or it's not satisfied and tells you not to leave.
Yeah, moving on. This is our machine learning cure for the cure part of the solution, which includes the ARDS and how we will solve that. Our model will include supervised form of machine learning, and we'll be using comparative analysis from a variety of biases, from a variety of previous known knowledge of our data that we have accumulated over our time as a civilization. So we'll be figuring out the composition and transmission of the virus and the debris that forms around it. So this will allow us, through this comparative analysis, we can see what sort of microparticles are attracted and how it transmits. And this will allow us to synthesize an appropriate compound. and a set of compounds will be collected, and through rigorous testing, we can come down to basically a set of between 5 to 10 compounds, uh, hopefully which should have similar solutions.
Right, so this is a
And
bibliography, and let's go past
any
this. Any questions? We now open this up to any and all questions.
I actually had a question. You mentioned about how a smartphone is essential for this initiative to work. So in an MEDC, for example, let's take India, only 36% of the population have smartphones, and we know how big a problem Corona is over there. How would you pose your initiative would tackle that?
Well, India is not an MEDC, and I think I mentioned that it's going to be targeted towards mainly MEDCs, like first world countries. India is the third world, I believe.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm sure India is an MEDC.
I mean, no, it's third world country. It's not first world country.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah. Okay, we'll be assuming that there are no more questions left. If you do have, feel free to interrupt us at any time. But yeah, thank you for our pitch, and we had a great time at the camp, and a great time introducing our pitch, and we hope you select us as
Yeah, you
more
can reach us at
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you both so much. That was really fun. Very interesting choice of photos. Yeah, that was really good. That was great. I'm gonna move on to the next. Yeah, so I think we have Taimur next. Wait, are you saying something?
How do I stop screen sharing?
Oh, okay. I think there's I think there's a button on the top. I'm not so sure because it's like
yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't see that.
Okay. So I'll just start sharing my screen. Okay. So can I just start whenever?
Yep, yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, sure. So hello everyone. Today I'll be presenting my pitch, which is the DSC, or Distance Sensing Camera. So a little bit about me. My name is Taimur. I'm 16 years old. I studied at Dubai College. In the top right is a picture of me and Vedant studying for our computer science mocks. I have a passion for computer science. And I'm fascinated by AI and its real-world applications, especially in the given context of COVID-19. So I'm very excited to pitch this project today. So I picked this project because it's a very effective method of, as you'll see, preventing the spread of the virus at its source, as well as being relatively simple in design, whilst also incorporating the novel AI techniques that we have available today. So a little more as to why I picked this, what's my rationale for choice. So I'll start with a little personal anecdote. During family outings to Marina Mall, which is very close to where me and my family live, many strangers walk past very, very close to us, even given the current guidelines. And these are in direct violation of the government issued social distancing regulations. Most of the time, these people don't get any kind of warning or reminder that these regulations are put in place. And in the worst case, these people actually initiate the spread of the virus in that area, turning the zone into a hotspot, in this case, Marina Mall. And in the case where multiple people are actually violating these guidelines, it is impossible to tell exactly how many people were in violation and who exactly they were in most cases. So this leads me to my problem statement. The social distancing laws are not sufficiently enforced in the vast majority of public areas. Additionally, it's extremely difficult to identify violating individuals in order to issue them some kind of warning. And this leads me to my solution and how I will implement it. So my solution is a high resolution camera that implements an AI algorithm to detect whether the people in the camera's frame are obeying set social distancing regulations. If someone is not obeying these regulations, the camera will use facial recognition to identify them and link them back to an ID in the government's database. The phone numbers the phone number or phone numbers linked to that ID will then instantly receive a government issue alert, similar to the ones that we received when the whole lockdown started, when it showed up on our phone. This directly combats the issue of people not being held accountable, as they are immediately told to obey the set standards through a message on their phone. So what's the training data going to look like for my AI? So the input is going to be pictures or videos of groups of people in various different public settings. And some of these photos are going to contain people too close to each other. And the expected output is going to be the picture with any person who is violating protocols highlighted, similar to what you see on the right, except only the people who are too close to each other are going to be highlighted in red. Now you might be wondering, what about people that are traveling together? What about if people are traveling with their spouse or with their friend or with their siblings? Theoretically, if the ID linking system works, then the IDs can be linked to each other via familial relations or something or the other. So if you're traveling with, say, your wife or your brother or your father, you will not be highlighted and issued a warning. So the expected usage is as such. It's a step-by-step process. First, the camera or cameras is installed in a public area. People then walk by into the camera's field of vision. Then when the camera detects people, it's triggered and then begins to take multiple pictures a second and analyzes them. So to analyze a video, we're basically taking multiple pictures a second. This is basically a high-speed camera. If strangers walk past each other too close to each other, the camera then scans their faces and issues a warning to the corresponding phone numbers. So a little bit about the machine learning approach. So the methods that are going to be incorporated into this AI are computer vision, and specifically within computer vision, image classification and localization, as well as facial recognition. So the algorithm is going to implement something called a convolutional neural network, or a CNN. And in layman's terms, this is just a network that is very good for image classification. And as you can see from the diagram on the right, the two key stages of this network are feature extraction and classification, which makes it very useful for finding patterns or finding objects within images, and their distance in relation to each other, so image localization. So what are some real world applications other than what I've stated? So one thing that's interesting to note is that this camera is not limited to just the COVID-19 outbreak. It can be applied in any case where a disease or something needs to be contained via some sort of distancing protocols. In the case that the required distance varies, for example, instead of 2 meters, we need to keep 5 meters away from each other, or 1 meter. It can vary. These distances can then just be passed to the AI as new parameters. I can say, hey, give me a picture that highlights anyone within 5 meters of each other rather than anyone within 2 meters. And after a few sessions of retraining to adjust the weights on the neural network, the cameras now work with that particular distance as opposed to the old one. So what are some benefits of this? So my model is simple. It's installed just like any normal CCTV camera. It's practical, can be wall, ceiling, or even floor mounted, as shown by the diagrams on the right. It's very effective. It delivers immediate results upon installation by issuing those warnings immediately to the violating people's phones. It's automated. The camera essentially checks itself for the required parameters. There's no need for a security guard to be constantly manually looking at a computer monitor to analyze the data. And it's also unassuming. The general public in that public area, in my case, Marina Mall, will not be surprised or startled by this, as it is simply just that, a CCTV camera. So that's the end of my pitch. I'd just like to name a few acknowledgements. First is Eye on Distance, which I got from this Gulf News article. It's where I got my inspiration. It's basically just that, a camera that analyzes whether people are too close to each other, but the facial recognition and ID linking system is part of my pitch. The second is a YouTube video called CNN's Explained, which just goes into the basics of what a convolutional neural network is, just to understand why it's good for image classification. And the final source I'd like to mention is a study from a news article that states that facial recognition with masks will be more accurate and feasible in the next 10 years or so. Right now, facial recognition is not functioning with people with masks, but the study did state that in the near future, it will be possible to recognize your face with a mask on. So my camera will not fail in that regard. And finally, I'd just like to thank the whole AIX Entrepreneurs team. This has been a great camp, and I've learned so much, and I can't wait to incorporate it later on. And I leave you with this iconic scene from The Matrix, and I'm open to any and all questions. So thank you.
Yeah, I have a question actually.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so you are saying that face recognition will be there to like detect the body, yeah, right. That's what you wanted to say, right?
The facial recognition will first, the image classification system will work where it detects, okay, are these two people too close, and are they not linked in some way? Are they not spouses or friends or whatever? If they're too close to each other and they're strangers, then the system starts, and then it begins the facial recognition where it analyzes their face and links it back to the government database. So it's kind of a two-part process.
Okay.
Fine. I actually have a question as well.
Okay.
I just wanted to know. I mean, these these sensors, which are mainly meant for social distancing, already kind of do exist. As in, there is a startup called Density, and it's an AI startup where they have actually invested $51 million into building these infrared powered sensors. So, what makes your idea stand out from all these cluster of ideas that have been used for the same thing?
Well, these infrared sensors, I mean, I haven't personally seen Density or what they've been working on, but these infrared sensors seem like they'd be somewhat clunky and or weird to look at, for lack of a better word. But my camera is just simply that. It's a security camera. It's one that you'll see all over the place. So it's not something that will be somewhat startling to the general public, to put it that way. So I feel like that is what separates my product, as well as simplicity. You know, it's just a camera. That's kind of a point that I'm going to be coming back to. It's just a camera. So it's not, there's no layers of added complexity in terms of installation. It's just what goes on inside the camera that distinguishes it from a normal security camera.
All right.
Yeah, one more
Okay.
question. Will this AI will alert to a person to maintain distance?
Sorry, so you're saying, will it display the actual distance between the people?
Yeah.
That's definitely possible, because since the image classification will be detecting people within 2 meters, there's definitely some sort of function that can display the actual distance between people. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Fine. And can it be installed can we install used in a watch like in the sense to maintain distance? Can it be installed? Okay, that's not a question actually. Sorry.
What you mean, like on a watch, for example, like say an Apple
Yeah,
Watch?
on a watch. Yeah, on a watch.
Well, it is a large, it's a security grade CCTV camera. So that system I don't think would be implemented for a long time on a watch.
No, I want to say that like those who like the CCTV, it will catch the person. Suppose if it is CCTV, it will catch a person. It will sense a person, right? To maintain distance. And so which device, or like can we watch that CCTV footage on a mobile phone or a watch or something like that? That's what I wanted to ask.
Most likely a computer monitor. It's just like a normal CCTV camera where you can connect it to a computer monitor and view the actual live camera feed. Except the only thing that distinguishes it is, again, the AI algorithm that's running and detecting all these things. So it's basically that, just a CCTV camera with some AI.
Fine.
I think that's all questions. So yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Taylor. That was amazing. Next up, we have a 3-person team. I think it's, let me just look at the name very quick. So Shreyas, Anirudhan, and Ayushi. And I think you guys are from Abu Dhabi. So yeah, just one similarity. If you want to go ahead and share your screen, that'd be great.
Yes, I will share my screen. Okay, can you see?
Yeah. So yeah. Good afternoon, one and all present here. My team and I would be pitching today on an idea that we came up with related to AI and healthcare. We named it PENU.
Yes. Give me 1 minute.
I'm sure many of you must have seen this movie called Big Hero 6. If yes, then you definitely know this character called Baymax. For those who don't know who Baymax is, he's actually a personal assistant healthcare robot who's equipped with thermal cameras, internal scanners, and various other stuff. And he's equipped with exceptionally well healthcare facilities, and he's programmed to diagnose diseases and also treat injuries immediately. What if told you that we could bring Baymax to real life? That's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to use AI robots in the healthcare sector. Introduction for our team. Yeah. Our team consists of 3 members, Shreyas Deshpande, Aniruddhan Ramesh, and Ayushi Singh. I'm Aniruddhan Ramesh. Yeah. And we're all students of Bright Rider School, Abu Dhabi. The reason why we chose this project was because after learning the capabilities of artificial intelligence, we realized how important of a game changer it would be in the healthcare sector. Yeah.
So why do we really need this thing? So AI, it makes it more quick and effective where we can detect the disease or the injury and we can find the cure for it immediately. So it has the ability to gain information and it can give a well-defined output to the user. And the probability of human errors by the human doctors, it reduces significantly. So the AI machines they're trained in such a way that they can treat the patient in the right manner. So what exactly is the problem? So healthcare facilities are not always available in all the situations. Like in current COVID situation, there were like very few doctors. The number of doctors were really less. So with this, we can help in that case. And often diagnosis of certain diseases or injuries take a lot of time, and due to which it can even cause death. And not all doctors are specialized in every single field. So suppose you have a pain in your ear, so you go to an ENT, but it turns out it's actually a problem with your brain. So you have to go to the neurosurgeon, which will delay the process a lot. So what exactly is our solution? Our solution is an artificial intelligence machine that can be used in the healthcare sector that can detect diseases or injuries and provide a cure for it immediately. The AI machines can be activated just by hearing sounds of pain, and it is installed with scanners that can scan the entire body and can tell you where exactly the injury is. And it can also detect emotions, and it has the data for thousands of different medical procedures, so it can cure almost every single problem. And it can be updated in such a way that in case there are new diseases, you can update it so that the machine will be able to cure it.
So input and output. So what will machine input? The machine will input motion of a person, intensity of injury, problems and symptoms faced by a person, and scans of a body. Process. The machine will process, listing down the possible reasons for the symptom, what first aid to be given for the injury, and selecting the most suitable cure for the symptoms. Output. What will the machine give in return is giving the appropriate first aid and cure immediately, prescribing the medicine, and providing emotional assistance. So setup. So the machine should be set up through these 2 points, which is computer vision. So computer vision will be used to detect physical injuries and hygiene of a patient, and it should recognize, or it is used to recognize various different facial expressions. So NLP, we know what is NLP. NLP is natural language processing. It is used to understand human language as it is spoken, and it is used to detect emotions through speech.
Into the real world. In healthcare centers such as clinics and government hospitals, these machines can be used in order to treat the patients more efficiently. By taking instant body scans and analyzing the reports, machines can recognize the problem of the patient and then can give medicines in order to cure the pain in a much faster pace. Instant diagnosis of the patient with maximum success rate is what Payno offers. This is the real, this machine is the real need of the hour, because due to this COVID situation, a lot of doctors are exposed to the COVID-19, and they also come in contact with a lot of COVID-19 patients. So using such robots can eliminate the risk of doctors getting infected. Um, Pano not only focuses on physical health, but also mental health, which is neglected by many. It also gives emotional assistance to the patient. Thank you. Um, I would like to thank the AI Summer Camp for giving us an opportunity to express our ideas. And this is our first time, um, talking about AI and stuff. We really had no idea what was AI before this camp, and we learned a lot. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, AI Camp. I have learned a lot
Yeah,
of
thank
AI
you.
stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, you guys. Again, all of you are doing amazing. One sec. So next up, I think Zen Jacob. Thanks, Trias, Anirudhan, and Ayushi.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So do you know someone who is tested positive for the coronavirus but is sort of reluctant to talk about it? Are you clueless about the intensity of the outbreak in your own locality? And finally, are you afraid of going outside because you've absolutely no idea what's in store for you? All right. So right now, people, we are blind to the whole situation. Even governments are blind because this is something that is unprecedented. We have no idea how to move forward. And of course, the virus is so minuscule, we can't see it. So we need a guide, all right? A guide for all of humanity, the guide for the frontline workers who are already so overwhelmed. I mean, everyone is overwhelmed. So, I got to thinking, all right? I thought about these exact same questions and I came up with an idea. All right. So yeah, that's a picture of me. And I thought about an idea that benefits not just one or two sections of society, but then society as a whole. An idea that would benefit not just the COVID patients, but also the general public, the frontline workers, the government, everyone. All right. So, and here it is. I present to you COVID Track. So this is my project for the AI plus social good camp. And it's basically an all-in-one guide to sort of control and stop the coronavirus. Now, let me start by defining the problem. So the unprecedented, all right, if I'm emphasizing that word, the unprecedented outbreak of the pandemic has made it difficult for the government and people to track the spread of the virus and exactly determine how to sort of control it. All right. And this is a crazy solution I came up with. All right. So I'm just going to walk you guys like step by step. So we'll start with the chatbot. This chatbot sort of collects data from people who have been recently diagnosed with the virus. So it asks them a bunch of information, which I'll be getting into detail in the next slide. So using that data, which is provided by the people who are diagnosed positive with the virus, this data is sort of compiled by a machine learning model, and it's used to determine the virus hotspots. All right. So now we have all these data. I mean, we know exactly where the cases are more severe. So we sort of use this data from the machine learning model to generate an interactive map showing the virus hotspots and the severity, and also uses AI to predict future outbreaks using the data that we have. And also additionally, this app is going to be installed in all the users who have this app installed will be notified and they'll be given an alert when they are entering a virus hotspot. And also if they have been exposed to someone who is tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. So this is sort of like a general idea of the solution. And if you're interested in the input data, so as I said, what exactly will the chatbot ask you? So let's assume that you got tested positive for the coronavirus and you're going to be given a unique ID by the public health department. So keep that in mind. You won't be asked your name. Your name won't be registered into the system, but rather all these details, all right? So, sorry. So questions like, how old are you? Where do you live? What symptoms have you experienced? What places have you visited in the past few days? And who do you live with? Have they experienced symptoms? What places have they visited in the past few days? Have you been in close contact with anyone who has been diagnosed with the virus? So basically ask you all this information, all right? And COVID track also uses data from previous coronavirus outbreaks to sort of understand their behavior and analyze the patterns. So as you said, it can also predict future virus hotspots. So in this way, you sort of, you can efficiently track the spread of the virus. All right. Now, I know that a lot of people may be concerned about the data privacy, as in you're asking all this data and no one really knows how it's going to be maintained. So how do you tackle that? As I said, and I'm going to reiterate, the name of the individual is never registered into the system. So whenever they're diagnosed positive with the virus, they're simply given a unique ID, and they can use that to talk to the chatbot and provide essential information that we need to track the spread of the virus. And COVID track is interested in tracking the spread of the virus, not the individual. And of course, this whole process will be carried out abiding privacy regulations by whatever government is concerned. Okay, now let's move on to the technical stuff. So as I said, the chatbot is going to use natural language processing. So that's like AI involved there. And basically this whole system uses the best that AI has to offer. So the chatbot uses natural language processing. It talks to people who have been recently diagnosed with the virus. And then that data is used in an ML model, which is going to be trained to tabulate that data and analyze the patterns. And as I said, we're also going to be inputting data of previous coronavirus outbreaks. So the ML model is trained to analyze patterns and also predict hotspots as well as the major hotspots currently. Now, this data from the ML model is used to train a neural network to sort of generate an interactive map, as I told you, showing potential virus hotspots and possible outbreaks. And also, we are going to be using an AI-based location positioning system. So as I said, the app is going to alert a user whenever they are near a virus hotspot and if they've been in contact with someone who has tested positive for COVID-19. So we're sort of integrating everything that AI has to offer and sort of combining all this data to, like, it's a sort of guide, and it helps us actually see the virus. It helps us trace the spread of the virus, to track the spread of the virus. Now you may ask, why is COVID track superior than the technologies that we already have now? So according to my research, what happens now is the public health department simply calls the person who's tested positive for the COVID-19 virus, and they just ask like random information. And it's not really efficient because we are just humans and we can't really process all that data and analyze it, find out the patterns and use it compared with previous data. So it just ends up becoming these boring Excel sheets or tables, and they just release it to the public. Whereas now, okay, and that's not an efficient way to communicate to the public. So now we sort of have everything with the help of AI. We understand the virus better, we see it better, and then it gives us an opportunity to know exactly who to test. It gives us an opportunity to find out what's happening. It gives us an opportunity to sort of put in place the best policies there are to track the spread of the virus. And actually, everyone understands the severity of the issue because this is it's a map, right? It's an interactive map, and everyone understands what's happening in their own locality. They can understand the spread of the virus in their own locality, and also it helps us allocate testing more proactively. All right, so we know which communities are in danger. Of course, more importantly, it creates a safe and reliable environment. So if you want to go out from your house, you know exactly what areas are safe and what areas are exactly dangerous. So yeah, that's basically it. That's my pitch. I don't really have an acknowledgement slide prepared, but then I would really thank the AIX entrepreneurs for creating this platform because personally, I had no idea about AI, but then I have a lot of information about AI than I did when I joined the camp. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ashi, for inspiring and motivating us, not just AI, but also entrepreneurship skills. So yeah, that's it. And I also thank my friend Agnes for like helping me review this presentation, and also all of you guys for listening. So thank you so much. And of course, if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to ask them. Okay.
Yeah, can I have one question actually?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this COVID tracker, what type of output will they give? Like, how much of confirmed cases are there? How much of total cases are there? So,
Yeah,
what
as I
type
said,
of output do you give?
yeah. So the output, are you talking about the output that's going to be released to the general public? Like everyone can see that sort of output?
Yeah. See.
Okay, so what output you'll be seeing from all this data is, firstly, since we want to protect the privacy of the individual, we won't be revealing their names or any personal information, but rather we'll be only releasing data of where the cases are more prevalent. Okay, so as you said, yes, there'll be the number of confirmed cases, and not just numbers, but it'll show you exactly where those confirmed cases are, and also the map will be color coded, so you can see which areas are more severe and which areas are not. So does that answer your question? Is that sort of
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions? No. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Zen. Amazing. I love that you addressed the whole data privacy concern, and you did it very thoroughly. So thank you so much. Next, we have, I think, Jay. So if you want to start.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me start video. Share. Okay, can you all see? Can someone say if they can see?
Yes, yeah, we can see
Yeah,
you.
we can see it.
Okay. Okay, so my topic is AI providing relief measures by Jay Mehta. So about me. Hello, I'm Jay. I'm an 8th grader who studies in Ambassador School, and I'm interested in both AI and entrepreneurship. Why have I chosen to make this? I wanted to make a machine that can provide a simple solution so there is no chaos and medical attention can be prioritized. It can also continuously take care of your health during the pandemic. Okay, so here's my pitch. This is a 21st century chatbot which will guide you through the pandemic. This chatbot is like no other. It's called the HealthBot. Okay, so what does HealthBot even do? From time to time, this chatbot creates an health analysis. This responsive AI can uses these analysis and determines your condition. It can be used for both healthy and sick. If you are infected, the bot puts you in either of three categories: asymptomatic, mild, and critical. It then decides the next step. If it is asymptomatic, it will immediately inform the medical authorities and advise you to stay at home and self-isolate yourself. If it is mild, then it will advise you to go to the hospital, and if it is critical, it will immediately call an ambulance to take you to the ICU. So this chatbot locates the nearest hospital bed and provides it to the people who most need it. If you are self-isolating yourself, this AI also contacts the team of the team volunteering in your area and sends them food and water. Here's what makes this AI better than the rest. The health bot is an interactive and has a human touch by simultaneously being anonymous to your data. The health bot periodically collects information from your Apple Watch or a Fitbit to keep a check on your vital signs. It is accessible anywhere, anytime, as long as you have the app on your phone. It respects your data privacy and can only access information that you are comfortable with sharing. Let's look at a prototype. So we have recorded a conversation between the health bot and one of our celebrity endorsements. And if no one can hear it, I have also included subtitles.
I'm HealthBot. How may I assist you today?
Hello, this is AIxEntrepreneurs Hello Alvin, do you want me to pull up your health analysis? Talk to me about how you're feeling. Locate the nearest hospital bed. Or want to receive some water or food stuff. Your request has been sent. A team will reach your house tomorrow. What would you like to do next? Can you pull up my health analysis? Okay. Reports have come in. Your temperature is 36 degrees Celsius. Blood pressure is 128ths of a millimeter. Weight is 5 kilograms. Your reports are normal. What would you like me to do next? That will be all, HealthBot.
Thank you for listening to my pitch, and I hope that this is the next app on your phone.
Thank you, Jay. So you said you were in grade 8. That's so impressive. I'm really impressed. Great presentation. Yeah, so that was amazing. I'll move on to the next one. But I wasn't attending tech camps when I was in grade 8, so I mean that's really big of you. Great, yeah. Yeah, so next up, I think Akshaya, Abhiram, and Abel, sorry again for the names. But you can go ahead and share your screen.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
All right. So, good afternoon and welcome to a new dawn. One where intelligence, both human and artificial, work together to enhance the lives of mankind for the years to come. I'm Abhiram and I'm accompanied by my teammates Akshaya and Abel. And without further ado, we'd like to present our answer in light with the association of AI and medicine to change the way we treat forever. Introducing AID, Heal with AI. We chose this project because one of the biggest problems is the uncertainty that doctors and frontline workers face in general when combating the deadly coronavirus. This has led to many further sub-issues such as uncertainty in medication, patient treatment protocol, or even selecting patients to provide hospital facilities for. We believe that AI could revolutionize these fields and bring about imminent change to the uncertainty stated above. And again, modern problems require modern solutions.
Good morning, I'm Akshaya, and today I'll be presenting the different problem statements along with our team solutions using AI to come across this deadly pandemic. So coming across our first problem statement, locating hotspots. So using AI, we could utilize AI to look up or examine the spread of the virus through a host or a carrier. AI algorithms could be used to track the subject's travel history and any other humans he or she has come in contact with. Through this, we could identify potential hotspots and offer specialized testing and tests to the population of the affected area while easing the lockdown measures in the other unaffected parts.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abel, and I'll be addressing the second problem statement for today. The second problem statement is the lack of sufficient beds and facilities at hospitals due to increasing number of patients. One of the main problems faced by hospitals and healthcare facilities at the moment is the lack of sufficient facilities to treat the patients. As a result, many patients are subjected to home quarantine based on the symptoms that they exhibit. Hence, AI could be used to look up the severity of these symptoms and suggest effective isolation methods while keeping track of the facilities at disposal of the healthcare organizations. Now, moving on to the third problem statement, conventional treatment methods involve extensive trial and error. wherein different medicines are experimented with. However, we are still on the hunt for the perfect vaccine or an antiviral drug. Hence, through AI, combining methods of treatment of the past with the current available vaccines could potentially speed up the entire process of medical testing and thereby increase in efficiency.
So, coming up with our fourth problem statement, human trials for potential vaccines and treatments. So, using AI, we could test different medicines and or their combinations against the DNA sequence of the coronavirus and trying out possible combinations until a successful match against the virus is attained. This would reduce the risk caused by the exposure of unattainable vaccines against human trials. This would be much more effective and time-saving. Lastly, I will be using the ML format to explain what we had just said. So we will be inputting study medicines used to treat similar diseases in the past, just like the coronavirus, like the Ebola virus, for example, and how their treatments were used. We will be combining treatment methods used in the past with the current available modern medicines and come up with a more efficient vaccine. To conclude, we could program an AI which could potentially excel in most spheres of treatments and through machine learning combat any further deadly pandemics that humanity could come across. Using ML, we could provide test data with symptoms of various diseases and create a model which could eventually diagnose and bring a cure. Our main idea is that all in all, AI could test different medicine combinations, do tests, and run simulations. It could be provided to individual healthcare facilities or laboratories. This AI would look after the basic flow within the facility and if expanded enough, could result in greater community welfare and eventually end this global pandemic. That would be all.
Thank you, Akshaya, and sorry, I'm just gonna go over Akshaya, Abhiram, and Avo. So if you have any questions, you can maybe ask them now, and then I'll move on to the next group. All right, so next we have Sanjit, Ira, and Dave, if you want to get started.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen.
Thank you.
COVID-19 is pushing 40 to 60 million people to extreme poverty. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sanjit Saji, and I shall be presenting our idea to you along with my teammates, Ira and Dave. As 16-year-old high schoolers, we feel that certain aspects of this pandemic have not been taken into account, and therefore the conditions get worse. We choose to try and eradicate poverty, as you'll see in a while. We are in a world where developments are occurring at a rapid pace, and artificial intelligence is not just a dream, but it is a reality. AI is a discovery that revolutionizes all the industries present today, and it also changes the way we perceive things. And we believe that it could eradicate bigger problems such as poverty, access to education, etc.
Here today, we as a team are trying to eradicate poverty, one of the major problems that has occurred due to this COVID-19 pandemic. Today, people are losing their jobs in huge numbers, which has increased the unemployment rate by around 5 times.
Nowcasting global poverty is not an easy task. It requires assumptions about how to forecast growth and how such growth will impact the poor. along with other complications such as how to calculate poverty for countries with extremely outdated data or without data altogether. All of this goes to say that estimating how much global poverty will increase because of COVID-19 is extremely challenging and comes with a lot of uncertainty.
Our solution to this problem is Ideate, a name that stands for Innovate Decisions for Eminent Ability to Target Eradication. In this project, we proposed an approach that combines machine learning with high-resolution satellite imagery to provide new data on socio-economic indicators of poverty and wealth. Nighttime lighting is a rough proxy for economic wealth, and nighttime maps of the world show many developing countries are sparsely illuminated. With a bit of machine learning, the combined images can be converted into accurate estimates of household consumption and assets.
After we receive a detailed report with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning, we will try to use the current technologies to eradicate poverty. With the help of technology, we can eradicate poverty by improving farming techniques, increasing access to education with the help of digital learning applications, and also improving transportation. Then we can also use satellite imagery to see the map of that region so that we have an idea of how to eradicate poverty in that region.
Okay, now let's envision two futures, a utopian and a dystopian world. In a dystopian world, we are surrounded with people who are in despair because of the rates of unemployment and poverty, which are skyrocketing. There aren't any employment opportunities because of the lack of funds, which also led to a second worldwide economic depression. And now a utopia, a world where everyone lives in harmony and development is occurring at a rapid pace, and poverty being eradicated due to increased access to education and using our project to solve the problem.
The choice is now up to you. A free and a powerful world, or a world plagued by disease and poverty.
Also, a huge thank you to everyone here, especially the AIX Entrepreneurs team, for giving us this incredible opportunity.
We genuinely hoped you liked our idea and support it because we really want to reduce the huge gap between the rich and poor. And since money is such an essential right now, and some of the people who have the most of it really don't contribute much towards helping the world. So we'd also like to end this whole presentation by saying, eat the rich. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjit, Ira, and Dave. That was, as always, all of you are doing amazing. Next, we have Nanaki.
Hi, yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Nanki Singh. I'm a year 11 student at JES. Oops. Yeah, sorry. I'm a year 11 student at JES. I have a passion for economics and computer science, and I really believe that the capabilities of artificial intelligence are endless and that machine learning and AI offer us a potential for a very different way of life. So my project is centered around predicting the spread of the coronavirus, but I have linked it to government fiscal policies. So why is the pandemic a problem? Well, it has taken millions of lives so far, but it has also managed to induce a worldwide recession, which has led to governments having to pump trillions of dollars into the economy to stimulate and make up for lost demand. So really the only way for us to return to normal is for our government to be able to control the spread. And that won't be possible until we have a cure or a vaccine. So until then, really our best bet to control the virus is through outbreak prediction. So what's the problem? Well, most government legislation regarding the coronavirus is designed to curb the spread of the disease in an effort to return to normal economic conditions. However, restrictive legislation, which could again come into force because of dangers of a second wave, will and has impacted the demand of goods and services, and therefore the economy. And we seem to be trapped in this continuous cycle that we aren't able to break. So what's my solution? It's an AI called Optimum AI, which uses text classification on new government regulation about social distancing and lockdowns to predict potential coronavirus hotspots. But the second part to this is that government organizations that control a country's monetary policy can then use that information to predict the magnitude of future stimulus and relief packages and the impact on the labor force and productivity. So what data will I use? Well, it's a two-part model. The first part uses text classification, which is a subset of NLP. And the second part uses machine learning to predict potential hotspots. So let me just tell you about the first part of the model, which inputs new government regulation about social distancing measures in the form of formal reports, tweets, and speeches by government officials and bodies. And what this does is eliminates the chances of fake news. And what the model will do is output either like a saying that, okay, what they've now enforced will lead to either increased social distancing measures or decreased social distancing measures, so that sort of thing. And what the model will actually do is use stemming and tokenization to determine the tone and stance of officials by picking out words like, oh, increased lockdown or rise, increased hours, reopen, that sort of thing. So one example is by Boris Johnson, who is the UK Prime Minister. So what he said a little while ago was, to enforce those rules, we will increase the fines. So really what the text classification model will do is select, enforce, rules, increase, and fines, and from that determine that, okay, the government is planning on increasing regulation and restriction. Now, the second part of the model determines whether the new regulation would result in outbreaks and predict the impact on businesses. The input into the machine learning model would be the output from part one, which is, okay, is there increased restriction or decreased restriction? The output of the model would then tell you if activity in a region would increase or that cases are likely to increase or decrease by a certain percentage, and that a certain number of businesses will be impacted. Now, this will use machine learning. So we need data to train the model. And the data used for training will come from from the results of previous government legislations. So for example, to train the data, as we can see in the example below, the input would be that, okay, a country like some place like Florida, it lifted lockdowns in malls and parks. So, and the output would be that, okay, 15,000 new cases in a week and 1,000 businesses shut down. So that sort of training data would be used to train the model. So the real life application of this would be used by government bodies that control the country's monetary system, like the Federal Reserve in the US or the European Central Bank in Europe, or the Federal Reserve, I think it's that, Reserve Bank of India in India. So that data could then be used in a multitude of ways. So one would be the impact on small businesses and workforce, and accordingly the governments would be able to determine how many people are in need of short or long-term economic relief packages. A second way of using the data would be determining the effect on the labor market. Another could be the impact on stock market price fluctuations, which seem to be heavily dependent on human sentiment. And a fourth could be even predicting the stress on a country's healthcare system. So other important information regarding this is that there are a lot of AIs that have been designed to predict the spread of a disease, but there are none that do what my AI does. The target audience for this AI would be government bodies that are in charge of a country's monetary system, and they will be the source of funding. So this AI is actually much more complex than I've just shown you, and that it can take in so many more inputs to generate a much more accurate model, and that is more to do with behavioral sciences as well. but it is feasible. And a benefit of this is that there is so much evidence available for us to use as training data that the results would be very accurate. So thank you for listening. Are there any questions? No? Okay, well, anyway, I just want to conclude and say thank you to Ashi and the whole AI team. I really had very little knowledge about AI and machine learning before this, and you have managed to consolidate all the important information very clearly, and that's really helped. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Nanaki. Really enjoyed your presentation. And yeah, thanks so much for being here, I guess. To all of you for, attending these, past 5 days. Thank you so much for being here. We really, enjoyed your, how to put it, your presence, I guess. But thanks, Nanaki. So next we have Yash. You can share your screen if you're ready.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Yash, and I chose this particular topic, jobs and the virus, for this project. AI, I chose AI to solve this problem because it's really interesting how we can teach a machine like wires and metals to understand unique conditions and problems and respond accordingly. So why this particular topic? So as we know, the pandemic has caused the downfall of many thriving economies. And when there's a downfall of an economy, we see a lot of jobs that are lost or cut down of salaries in this case, where people have the jobs, but they are forced to stay home. So for the people who've lost their jobs, there's no new availability of jobs. And there aren't any interviews happening because people are afraid that a large crowd might cause the spread of a virus. So I feel that the middle and lower class suffers the most during this time because people have loans, they have their monthly expenditure, and they don't have an income. So people are really struggling to get by. And while everyone is talking about solutions to end the pandemic and things like that, I really feel that this is a problem that needs to be looked at because repercussions of this are long lasting. People will have to work a long time to get back what they lost during this time. So a clear-cut definition of the problem. So downfall of countries' economies have led to the losses of jobs on a large scale. People have lost their sources of income. The middle and the lower class suffer the most. How do we help them? My solution is an AI algorithm that can empathize. We as humans empathize because we have a sense of pity, remorse for people when we see them in distress or them having any problem. But if we can get an algorithm, we can program an algorithm in such a way that how do I put this? That looking at particular conditions, it can understand what the problem is and find particular solutions in a way that can empathize with the person in distress. How are we going to do this? So an AI system can learn and compute large amounts of data together. So this allows it to find appropriate solutions considering various conditions. And if various organizations could use a system to understand the situation of their client, like I'll explain ahead. So if a bank sees that a particular client has had no income for a while, particularly since the start of the pandemic, and has a dangerously low bank balance, but also has a loan that extracts funds from his or her account monthly, and many other such criteria, the bank could it could have such a system in place where the loan could be put on pause till the person receives a salary or has an income. Another example would be a visa system. So governments usually have fines for people who stay in the country for even after the visa has expired, and it's sort of a per day fine, which is quite large. So if the system could track uh, citizens that are under debt, have low bank balance, have recently expired visa, and many other such criterias, the person could be let off per day fine for staying in the country. And if we have an AI system in place, like if the governments or, as I said, banking companies, if they have an AI system in place that could track so many people, human intervention in investigation could also help in being sure of who actually needs this policy. So how this machine would actually learn, how the system would actually learn. So we could we could we could give the machine various scenarios that would give it a basic understanding of what problems could cause real distress to people. And then after it has understood the basic functioning, we could the inputs would be conditions an individual is facing, particular problems, like in the case of the bank. If a person has no income and all these other conditions, then the AI system would say that yes, he needs aid, and then people from the bank could investigate this. Or if or another case would be a person has had no income for a while, but his bank balance is not low enough, and he could sustain for, say, about a year. Then he probably doesn't need any aid. And the output, yeah, as I said, it would be whether the person requires aid or not. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, I guess there are no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Yash. We're gonna move on to the next one because I think we're running out of time here. We have Rana next, if I'm saying your name right. So, sorry about that.
Yes, hi.
Sorry, wait, how do I stop sharing? Yeah, okay, got it.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay. So, hello, everyone. My name is Ranat, and I am a 10th grade student. I like to learn about technology, and I'm really interested in AI, the way it works, and how it helped us a lot in our life by making tasks easier. AI is helping a lot with fighting the coronavirus, and we can use it to solve most of the problems we face. So today I'm going to present my project, which I named Tracking Your Health During an Epidemic. So why did I choose this project? The virus is spreading fast, and many people who are infected don't realize until it's late, and they have been infecting and transmitting the virus to people while they don't know that they have the virus. And the first step to solve the problem is to identify the problem, and it will be better if we figure it early and even be ready before it becomes bigger. So it will be so good if everyone keeps tracking their health to avoid the virus from spreading among people. So what is the problem? Some people might be diagnosed late, or they don't realize they are infected until they have already spread the virus. So the solution I came up with is will help reducing the spread by letting everyone wear a smartwatch connected with a medical center that keeps tracking your health and temperature and working as a diagnostic chatbot, like the one we saw yesterday, that asks questions and diagnose at the same time. And it will warn you and alert the medical center if something was not okay. And here is a picture that shows like a similar idea of what I talked about. So basically what I did is combining a smartwatch or health
watch with a chatbot, a diagnostic chatbot. So the watch will keep tracking your temperature, blood pressure, and things like that. And the chatbot in the watch will diagnose you when needed. So if it detects that your temperature is high, it may ask you, like, do you have a headache or do you have a cough? So the machine learning and data in this project, the watch will use machine learning by taking the data from the person wearing it and predict if he might be infected. So the input data will be like the temperature or blood pressure, things like that, and answers that you give to the chatbot. It will analyze it and get the output data that you might be infected or not. So I do think that this idea can be implemented because there are already similar ideas that are applied and people are using them. We already have the smartwatch or the health watch, and we already have the chatbot, so combining them won't be that hard. And to make it more beneficial, we can connect the health tracker or smartwatch watch with a mobile app so that whenever a watch detects someone with high temperature or other symptoms, it gives instructions to the suspected person, the person that might be infected, alert the medical center, and it appears in the app as someone near you might be infected for everyone in the area to take care. For example, if someone in a certain building had some symptoms and might be infected, the app will alert everyone in the building so that they take care and be careful. That's it. Thank you everyone for listening, and thank you to all of the AIxEntrepreneurs team.
Thanks, Manat. That was amazing. I'm going to, we can take maybe a 5-minute break if you guys are, exhausted or mentally exhausted, I guess. So yeah, we'll be back at 1:30, and we have, just a second. We have Harsh and Izan next. So you guys can just prep for 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, yeah, so Izan and Izan and Harsh, if you're ready, you can get started.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, guys, so let's pitch in into our idea, that is the thermal glasses. Yeah, so my name is Harsh. I'm studying in DPS and I'm in grade 11.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Izan Ibrahim Sayed, and I'm 11th grader in Indian National School, Sharjah. Me and Harsh met 3 years ago, and we are best friends since then. Both of us used to be in the same class, but now in different schools. Okay, so why do we need a new idea? So the area I really choose is detection in close proximity. When you are in close proximity, you don't really have a solution to find anybody who's near you and infected with the virus. Okay, I'm going to throw a few questions at you people. Take this for instance, that you are in a crowded place during this particular time. How would you get alarmed or prompted if there is an infected person near you? Most of you could, come up with answers saying that apps such as Yarogya Setu or such COVID tracker apps could be used at such a point of time, right? But then what if the person is infected again? So what these apps really do is that, they create a profile, okay? And I'm giving an example of the Arogya Setu app, not the other code trackers app, because I'm familiar with this. And what Arogya Setu app does is that it scans the profile of the person, and it is an app through the government. So what it really does is that it erases the profile, or it gives a negative test to the person. And what if the person gets the virus again, or what if the person is infected again? How will you get to know about it? What if the other person does not have a mobile, since the app is in the mobile? So what if the other person does not have a mobile, or what if you do not have a mobile, or what if you do not carry the tracker? What would you do?
So the main problem is more and more people are going out. More and more people are getting affected with the coronavirus. Now, many of the people don't realize that they have the virus because sometimes the symptoms come really late, like after maybe 5 days. And within those 5 days, they have already affected a lot of people. That spreads the coronavirus. Now, a solution.
Okay, so the solution to our problem. So after a lot of thinking, I understood that when you are in close proximity with a person, there are very less symptoms to know whether the person is infected with the virus or not. Thermal scanners are a very easy form of heat detection within humans. It's widely used as cameras also to detect and use as a face recognition. So we came up with an idea of ourselves. Okay, our idea is the thermal glasses. Now, these thermal glasses come with a pair of detachable earphones. What they basically do is that they tell us if the person we are in close proximity with is a person who's got a high body temperature, since a high body temperature is a very major source of, very major symptom, not source, a very major symptom of the coronavirus. These glasses are very similar to and contain a thermal camera also. The thermal camera would be located just below the bridge of the glasses. Okay, so it's something similar to the picture I showed over here. But this part right here is going to be built up, and the thermal camera is going to fit over here. Now, so this is a very portable, stylish, compact, and convenient way to help yourself be away from people or get an alarm or a prompt when there is a person who's been infected near you. So now the two main features of a thermal camera are, just hold on. Okay, the two main features of a thermal camera, thermal glasses, is a thermal sensor which acts as the input. Now what this really does is that thermal camera first recognizes the person, and it recognizes the temperature of the person and how he or she is. Now this is where the ML or the AI part comes in. It decides if temperature is qualified to be told as a temperature, or is if this particular temperature qualifies to be higher than the normal body temperature. What it does, it sends a prompt to the earphones, and then, or the phone, depending on the versions you buy. There are two versions, one with the earphone and one without the earphone. So with the one without the earphone, uses the phone as a prompt. What really happens here is that the prompt is sent to the earphones or the phone again, and then our phone is and then there's a notification on our phone which tells us how much of temperature does the other person have, or in which direction does the person have. This way you can really stay away from the person. And this prompting will be done through a dedicated app which could be created, and we could get this in the next 5 years time. Yes. Okay, now the ML problem setup. Most of this is self-explanatory. Once the cameras capture the infrared images of the passengers, the imaging data would be passed on to systems like the premium industrial GPU computers. Now, the premium industrial GPU computers are a very problem right now with the premium industrial GPU computers is that they aren't a very compact size right now. Okay, now these can be optimized for thermal imaging. And these are right now being optimized for thermal imaging. But then for our project, we do require a very compact chipset. Okay, now these GPUs capture pixels and then they process it on the Intel or NVIDIA or AMD graphic engine. These are multi-core CPUs which are also used as computer vision or algorithms in many modern AI technologies. The CPU GPU architecture here, it decreases execution time, thermal generation, which will help us to identify the person in a very quick amount of time. This also supports processors such as the RTX 2060 Super GPU, which is a modernate CPU, which is used in again a lot of thermal technologies such as the thermal camera itself. But another compact one, the larger one, right? Again, if you see over here, I have put up a picture which is something that is very similar to our project. I couldn't really design it properly, but then this is something that is related to our project. This is how compact our thermal camera can be. This is the camera which will be situated right below the bridge of the glasses. Again, this is very sufficient for real-time machine interfacing if it is optimized in the way it is.
So now nothing is perfect. Just like everything, even this has its pros and cons. So let me start with the pros first. So now when usually you're going outside, there's someone checking your temperature. Maybe when you're entering a restaurant or something, someone will check your temperature. Now I feel that there's not much distance between both of us. So for that, we have come with these glasses. This glasses has a range of 6.5 feet. A person could be 6.5 feet away and we could still come to know the range. It is 90% accurate. It is stylish, compact, convenient. Now cons. It is very expensive. It won't be very light. It won't be very light like the normal sunglasses. High temperature is not the only symptom that there are many other to check if a person has COVID, but this could be a precaution. So prevention is better than cure. Now, real world application. The thermal glasses will help a lot of people as now most of us are going outside, or maybe some of us are even scared. These will help us to know if someone near us has COVID, or maybe has some symptoms of COVID. So we could check by these glasses if someone has COVID or not, and we could maintain a safe distance from them, and we could even tell the people. Now, this device will be mainly for the governments. It will also be there for the general public, but as I told, it's expensive, so it will be for the general public only if they can afford it. Costing. Now, since the glasses are made with good quality, comfortable and convenient carbon fiber material, they would cost $200. The thermal sensor would cost an extra $700. The shipping would cost $30 or more. And if you're ordering more than 10 pieces, it will be free. Tax and price will vary from place to place. Now, our main source of revenue will be from selling these glasses to the governments or to the general public.
Okay, so these are acknowledgements. These are the sites we have referred to: AMD, NVIDIA, Wikipedia, Alibaba, and then the rest of the few are the news sites, the news articles which we have referred to. Finally, me and Harsh, both of us would like to heartily thank you, Ashi, and the entire team of AI Entrepreneurs. Thank you for giving us a chance, and we didn't really have a lot of information about AI, NLP, computer vision, computer algorithms, but then this camp was very, very knowledgeable for us. So thank you, and thank you for the audience to listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. I really enjoyed your presentation. I'm sure everyone else did as well. I think next we have Shabankar, if I am right. Oh my God, it's so embarrassing to pronounce everyone's names wrong. But I mean, you can start if you're ready. Thanks, Harsh and Izan.
Okay, so I hope everyone can see me. Shubhankar, studying currently in our own boys Sharjah in grade 11. And if you want a small introduction about myself, in my school, I'm an active member in the um, Innovators Club and the Science Club, and have been the chief coordinator of the Science Club for the past 2 years. And currently, I'm the senior prefect at my school. And about AI, what fascinates me about AI is that we have accepted the fact that it is the future. Because imagine in the 1990s when the telephone was just coming by, and then they were able to experience a transition from the letters and telegrams we were writing to the texting we do today. So AI is something similar. What we think today as maybe something which can help might tomorrow be an essential of the world as a whole. And one thing which I'm excited about is I'm very active environmentalist as well. And I thoroughly believe in the concept of sustainability. And throughout the workshop, what I've experienced, I've always been able to connect AI with the concept of sustainability. And that's why today my pitch will be mostly and essentially based on that. So now most of us has come across this meme that because of less pollution, as an example here, from Punjab we are able to see Canada. Or sometimes we have also seen memes where we have been able to see the universal logo from our very own houses. This is because we have all accepted the fact that due to the COVID crisis, we are all locked up in our homes, all self-isolating, and we are not causing that much of pollution. But because of the whole pandemic that wreaks havoc around the world today, we have not actually seen one very important thing, which will be everlasting. And that brings me to my problem statement. Today, the fear in which we live in to catch the virus from others surrounding us, we constantly keep ourselves isolated by using masks, face shields, and gloves, and even disposable triple Ps, which also all prevent us from getting the virus. And although it might look as a very convenient and sustainable alternative, it is actually not. Because we all are aware that this pandemic, once the vaccine is discovered, which hopefully will be within this year, we will have cut down on the present active cases. But in the future, these will still remain because these are mostly made of material that takes almost 450 to around 1,000 years to degrade. And that definitely goes against the concept and idea of sustainability. So as you can see, we are recklessly disposing the mask and other protective equipment so that we can stay safe all the time. So what are the solution? Well, this is where my idea comes in. Dispose it will be a mobile application where it detects where the most usage of such equipment is used. So what is the data and what is the machine learning which will be involved in this? So we had some time to discuss over this idea, and the time which I got, I put this forward to my friends to have maybe a proofread of what it's going to be. So they told maybe by using mobile application, because such data which I'm presently showing on the screen, these could be more than enough to detect such things. Well, that is a valid point. But what I would like to say is now the lockdown is slowly shifting. And many of us are able to go out to our favorite places or even for long drives. So, and many of us are, at least our parents, are actually have to go to office. Many of our parents might be frontline workers, doctors, nurses. For example, from my personal experience, my dad is an engineer working in the airport, so he has to go daily. So these are the people who are actually using a lot of these masks. And this, although as a alternative, we could be shifting to cloth masks, which I and my family has done. But it might not be that widespread and not maybe that medically feasible. But as we use this, we also have to keep in mind how we can tackle it. So the data which will be inputted will be in form of the app on the mobile phones, where the app will be aware due to some credentials which will be provided by the user of where she is using, what he or she is wearing, such as disposable triple Ps or surgical mask or N95 masks or gloves. They will be getting such an input, and what they will be doing, the app will be analyzing this on a database and then sending it directly to government officials. And these government officials, in a collaboration with NGOs and many other such organizations which can take active action against this, they will be able to provide sustainable alternatives by providing maybe medical cloth masks, or maybe that sort, or maybe in the labor camps where these are more predominant, there can be awareness campaigns there. So these are some of the alternatives. And what this will do is, because we know, we have to think about the future. Today, the lockdown is uplifting and we are going on round. And soon there will be a vaccine. And the fear of the pandemic, which prevails today, might end some of the other time. But these will still remain on the earth for more than 450 to 1,000 years. And we have to think about our future on this planet. And that's why I had to come up with this idea so that we can all put on our thinking caps. And although today on this platform we have discussed many such ideas where we would be doing help for the frontline workers, or maybe emotional help for many other people who are self-isolated at home. These are the need of the hour. But if we don't think for the future, then our present might not be worth it. So that's why I would also like to thank AIX entrepreneurs for providing such a platform to me so that I could raise a sustainable issue and maybe even provide a valid and even feasible platform to present my solution. Thank you very much and have a nice day. And I'm open to any other questions as well. Any questions?
Yes, let's just assume people don't have questions, because thank you so much, Shubhankar. Great job. Really loved your presentation. And so I think we have one more person left. Zuha, if you can get started with yours whenever you're ready.
Yeah, just a second. One sec. I need to get the thing open.
Yep, sure, no problem.
Okay. So I will be presenting my presentation in the form of a video. So yeah. So I'm gonna start by introducing myself. So my name is Zoha and I'm 16 years old. So some of my interests include programming, economics, computer science. And to answer Ashi's question about why using AI excites me, so AI has a wide range of possibilities. Problem solving is something that really intrigues me, and obviously designing such softwares require problem solving. And I'm also passionate about STEM and its implementation in life. So yeah, the product I will be focusing on is an app which focuses on basically diagnosis and contact tracing. So just for simplicity, it is called App COVID. And yeah, so the motto is bringing convenience to your doorstep. And so these are the features we'll cover. So general app outline, the specifics and functioning, and then last of all, real world implementation. So after that, we're addressing a very important question, which is why this product matters or why you should care. So the sole purpose is to better equip you during the pandemic, or more so against it. So the features we'll be addressing are safety and obviously protection. At the same time, the app is designed for your convenience and your ease, as well as being pretty accessible. So yeah, so more on why this is an important product during these times. So I'd like to highlight that the app will effectively address any concerns that users have within seconds about the situation, because the pandemic is obviously a very worrisome time. So people like you and me, just teenagers or maybe even older people, will be pretty concerned. Yeah, so in addition to that, you get quick and easy risk assessments as well as increased safety. So the safety part is something I really want to emphasize on because that's our sole motive, basically. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the main issues that the app focuses on improving is basically the accuracy and efficiency of tracking people and diagnosis. So basically like self-diagnosis. And okay, so yeah, so our problem statement is basically to make systems as accurate as possible. So that's what the app does by having an AI integrated software in it. So yeah, I'm sorry. It's not gonna, okay, yeah. So now I'll basically be outlining the main features of the app and how they work. So the first one is risk assessment and diagnosis. So like a lot of people mentioned, the AI chatbot, so that is part of my app. And the AI chatbot would basically ask people questions regarding, you know, their personal, not personal details, their medical details, their age, and then basically evaluate the risk assessment or how prone they are to getting the virus. So that's pretty important. And yeah, so based on this, AI software would also give particular like precautions or cautionary measures for each person to take. So it's kind of pretty personalized and has an individualized approach for each and every person using the app. So then moving on to the diagnosis feature. So how this works is by machine learning. So it's quick and easy. And what you're supposed to do is the app will recognize a particular user's like cough or like the type of cough they have. So this is obviously done by machine learning. And so the software gives a detected outcome as to whether the symptom was identified or not. So yeah, there's just a visual representation of this. So input data would be the person coughing, and then it would get processed by the machine learning algorithm and it would give an output. So obviously this is not the only factor the software, you know, takes into consideration. It'll also take into consideration other things like temperature or some other features or like symptoms before giving a full on diagnosis. So yeah. And then after this, I will be moving on to the contact tracing feature, which is very important. And yeah, so this process will be facilitated by Bluetooth. And how this works is that the AI system keeps a track record of the unique string of numbers each phone basically exhibits, but like to keep it simple, we'll just call it Bluetooth tokens. So these are exchanged when people are very close to each other. So obviously the AI database keeps a record of the people you've been in contact with, but one very important thing that it addresses is that it keeps a record of the time you've been in contact with another person, because you wouldn't want it to just, you know, pick up on like someone you just merely passed by. So there's like a time shield thing on it. So it records stuff with high accuracy. And this is obviously more efficient than like, you know, going about contact tracing with like memory, because people are not as accurate as a system like this. So then there's also the added benefit of anonymity. So basically, people's information is not transmitted to each other through the Bluetooth connection. So you'll just be notified that you've been in contact with like these people, but like it won't tell you who the person is, obviously, because there's quite a lot of social stigma about like having the virus and that kind of thing. So the last step is notification. So if someone is positive or people have come in contact with them, all those people are notified, just so you know they can take self-precautionary measures, that kind of stuff, which basically the AI bot could like supervise or like help them with. So this is actually a very important aspect, as it basically allows tracing of asymptomatic patients. And this, I think, is where it bridges the gap between the diagnosis part, because that only applies to symptomatic people. But when you put it together with this vital process of contact tracing, you can basically get the asymptomatic patients as well. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, moving on to, yeah, an additional feature that our product will be giving would be an electronic wristband, or like, you know, the ability to connect to your smartwatches, because I understand that you might not always have your phone on you, or you could forget it. So it's a lot easier to have something on your wrist. So yeah, this would be helpful for contact tracing. And in addition to this, there's another feature that the app will have on the wristband as well as the phone, which is basically social distancing notifications or beeps. So how this works is, if the system senses that you're too close to other people, it will like beep or send you a notification, just so you know you can take a precautionary measure. So that is, again, emphasizing on your safety. That is what the app aims to give you. Okay, and yeah, so revisiting the sole aim of convenience, the app is very user-friendly. So in this aspect, it uses NLP for language flexibility, because we're trying to make sure that the app has a widespread audience, right? So that means people from different languages, different backgrounds, everyone should be able to use it, and very easily. So in addition to that, it has a user-friendly interface, as well as like it's easy to use, because we understand the different groups of people who will be using it, like older people or even like younger people. So it should be as easy as possible. Yeah. So moving on to another minor feature the app has is basically the relevant updates feature. So this is something that's kind of inspired by like Blue Dot. So it makes use of different regression analysis models for data analysis, and like, you know, potential COVID hotspots, and basically automated tracking systems, right? So you can get to know where the virus is more widespread, or like where it's likely to occur next. So this is actually something that will be alerted through like notifications, and as well as like a map, because you can see this Earth globe thing on the side. So that was the point. So the map would obviously work by neural network. So I don't want to bore you with like the technical aspects, because a lot of people talked about them already. So yeah. So those were basically the main features of the app. Yeah. So in addition to that, I think I'd like to say that the biggest advantage of my app is that it provides various comprehensive features to its users, rather than them having to like rely on different and separate particular aspects, you know, so which could be pretty tiresome. So yeah, the app is basically a culmination of all the possible innovative ideas, all on your phone, and very easy and quick. So it's all like accessible by simple tapping. So, and also it includes most of the other features that people did, but separately. So mine is just a combination of all of it, making it a lot more convenient, as you can see on the slide, and gives you quick results. And there's accuracy when it comes to tracking people, as well as a user-friendly aspect, which I think is very important when it comes to reaching out to various types of audiences. Yeah, so this is just a visual representation graph, like, you know, so other people just have one chat bot or something. Mine has a variety of other features. So yeah. Okay, so obviously an app such as this will require real world implementation. So the most basic way you can go about it is advertising to gain like a customer base. So this could be done by like word of mouth, or, you know, newspapers, stuff like that, Google ads. But another thing I thought of, which is kind of a little out there, because I was thinking of this from like the government's point of view, because we want accessibility to be very, you know, widespread. So maybe this, I'm not sure if this is feasible, because I couldn't find anything on the internet about this. So like phone carriers such as like Etisalat or You could possibly like, you know, download this app on people's phones, so that everyone would be using them, and it'd be easy to like, you know, keep a track record of everything that's going on in terms of containing the virus. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is feasible, but I just thought it'd be cool if they could get this done. Yeah. And then the last aspect we'll be looking into is monetization, or how it will make money. So obviously, advertising, like featuring people's ads onto the app, is a very basic way of getting money from your app, so like a revenue stream. In addition to that, I mentioned the wristbands or electronic watches, so those would also earn like a good amount of revenue. And yeah, the app could be commissioned and stuff like that. There's other features onto the slide, but I'm not going to discuss all of them. So yeah, but more importantly, I was looking at the app from like the government's point of view, so it's more addressed to that. And yeah, I think these are just a few acknowledgements of sites I used for like research. So I think that's pretty much it. And what I just wanted to summarize was that my app is just comprehensive and includes every single thing that would make it easier for people, because I feel like it's a very concerning time. So it's important that all of us are like updated and have this sense of like security about the virus. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'm pretty much done. So I'd like to thank Ashi and like the whole team for helping us out during the 5 days and like broadening our scope on AI, because it was pretty helpful. And yeah, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I have a question actually.
Yeah.
So will this app on your mobile, will it connect to your Fitbit or your smartwatch, and then will it tell only the scores, right?
Sorry?
Will it like, yeah, I'm just talking about the connection. Like, if you suppose if your mobile is at home and you're outside, but your watch is there, so but still will it show the count, right? How much
Yeah.
confirmed case you know?
That's the whole point. For example, if somebody doesn't have their phone on them, they will definitely have the electronic band. So it will still keep a track. The point is to cover every aspect of like contact tracing. So yeah, it does connect to your smartwatches, or like even the company will have a separate wristband if you want to buy that as well. Like for people who don't have smartwatches and don't want to invest in that because it's pretty expensive. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Anything else? Okay, so since there are no more questions, I guess I'll give the floor back to Ashi.
Thanks so much, Suha. Amazing job. All of you did amazing. So proud of you. So yeah, we're gonna take a very quick 5-minute break. Come back with like the award ceremony and stuff. Unfortunately, because this is all like virtual, we can't really make it as fun as it normally is. But we will try to make do with what we have. So yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes with the awards, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so is everyone here? And I'll just get started with it because some of you probably have to go. Can you just put your raise your hand if you're ready, or if I can, get started with the whole ceremony thing. Okay, great, thanks. So before I get to like the awards and stuff, I just want to say thank you all so much for sticking with us through till the last day. And I know this may sound really candid, but all of you are winners in your own regards, because I think it's really inspiring that you chose to participate in this camp. And so yeah, great job to all of you. These awards are merely just to have to make the whole like project work kind of fun and give it some sort of thrill. So this is just acknowledging some of you who maybe had the most innovative idea, or we just really liked all of your work, each and every one of your projects, and it was really hard kind of choosing one or another. And so for each category, we kind of boiled it down to 2 or 3 people. So yeah, let's get back to the presentation thing. Right, so first up, we have the best idea. You've already seen all like the criteria for it, and we actually have 2 winners in this. For this category. So first up, we have, does anyone want to do a drum roll? I don't know how to do this through like Zoom, but we normally have a drum roll or something. But anyways, so the best idea goes to first Taimur, and the other person is Zen Jacob. So both of you, congrats. All of us, I'm sure all of us, everyone who's watching agrees with me when I say that it was just amazing in all aspects, right? Presentation, the idea itself, the way you sort of, talked about your idea, everything in all aspects, it was an amazing project. So congrats to you both. And then we have the most innovative idea. Okay, so let's do this. First, I think we have Nanaki Singh. I really like the way you connected economics and AI, and it was really interesting, I would say, intersection of both of these things, or both of these fields. And then the second winner is Akram and Ojas. It was a very entertaining presentation. I really liked the photos. And yeah, overall, I just had a lot of fun watching you guys. Does anyone want to say anything so far? Because I think I'm running through this really quickly.
Thank you a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the award.
Thanks, you guys. I wish we could do this in real life. It's so much more fun. But anyway, so the best pitch actually has 3 winners. I say this again because it's so true. It was so hard for us to kind of like choose, people, but choose from all of you guys. But anyway, so the best pitch first goes to Jay Mehta. Of course, amazing. It's so inspiring to see an 8th grader do so much. And so great job on that, Jay, if you're here. I'm not so sure if you're here. I just realized I have not been sharing my screen this entire time. 1 second, I had that. I'm so sorry. So I've been sharing my screen this, I was supposed to be sharing my screen, I didn't. Anyway, so just in case you want to, let me go back. Okay, so this was, best idea, Taimur, Zen, Nanaki, all of you guys. There was a whole presentation going on. I just forgot to share my screen. So first one is Jay, and then Zuha, of course, who did an amazing job. And the last person is Shubhankar, sorry. All of you, I'd say the way you presented it, the way you designed your presentation itself was amazing. So congrats to everyone. And then of course, some special mentions. You can see your name on the screen. I'm not gonna read it out loud. But congrats to everyone, even if you didn't like get an award or whatever. This is just to sort of acknowledge your hard work, innovation and stuff. So thanks so much. If you want to say anything, you can go ahead and say so.
I think I speak for all of us. Well, thank you, not only for the award, but for like the whole experience. It was really, it was better than I thought it would be for like a free summer camp, if I'm being honest. It was really good, and it was all very well planned out. Thank you for the whole experience.
Thanks. Is that Ojas?
Agrim, but we sound the same, so it's fine.
Agrim, right?
Yeah, even I would like to add that it's really been an amazing experience throughout the week. And actually, initially, I was not quite exposed to the concept of the whole artificial intelligence. But by the time I reached to the pitch or the group project, it was really something which I might have not maybe learned in 4 months, which I did in 4 to 5 days. So thank you again to the whole team, including Ashi, and looking forward to many more such workshops with you guys.
Thanks, everyone. Also, just on a side note, all of you are going to be added to our member list. And so for any future events, whether that's like a university workshop or, calling a webinar as guest speaker kind of thing, we will be emailing you all. And also follow us on Instagram for any updates. The last thing that I wanted to say, because I will 100% forget this. So we will be emailing you your certificates and, awards and stuff. And so all of you will receive certificates of participation. And maybe just as a token of appreciation, can you please, like each and every one of you, print out the certificate and just take a quick photo of it? Because we want to make a collage, because I hate that this is not really happening in real life. I would really much rather have this, like in real life, not over Zoom or MS Teams. So if you guys can maybe do that, that'd be great. I'd really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so Anushka or Veda, Raghav, any of you, if you want to say anything, yeah. Okay, I think a lot of people are speaking at the same time.
Hi guys, it's Anushka here. I'd just like to say that it was a lot of fun interacting with you guys and having sessions with you. And thank you once again, Ashi, for giving us this amazing opportunity to be a part of this camp. And it's just been an amazing 5 days.
Thanks, Anushka. So I think that's all I really have to say. It really has been a pleasure it's been a pleasure teaching you guys and organizing this whole thing. And hopefully we, cross paths in the future. Okay, I'm gonna assume all of you are really tired of hearing my voice. So thanks so much. I will probably end the call in a minute. So if you have anything to say, you can say it now. If not, then just, I'm gonna close the call.
Good afternoon, Ashi.
Oh, hi.
This is, first of all, I don't know whether I already spoke to you a long time back. This is Shreya's father. Actually,
yes,
this is not
Shreya, I remember.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to congratulate you, everybody, because the way you have arranged it and organized the entire session was awesome, no doubt about it, And, unfortunately, I was not into each and every presentation, but awesome, believe me, everybody has, it was really, remarkable, like each and every students, you can say, basically, like they have really done a great job, very good presentation, and very well organized. Thanks a lot once again. And if you need any type of help from our side also as a parent to boost you guys, really, I'm absolutely helpful and I'm available for such type of activity. Not an issue. Okay, thanks a lot, Ashi, once again.
Thanks so much, Uncle. Thanks for sending Shreya here. It was, like I said, it was so much fun. Past 5 days.
Thank you, Ashi.
Thanks so much. Does anyone want to say anything? I'm not so sure how this is gonna go. Should I just end the call? Do you want to say anything? I'm gonna give you 1 minute. I'm not gonna say anything. If you want to say anything, you can say it. Otherwise, I'm closing the call.
Thanks a lot for the camp, Ashi. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thanks, Taimur. Thanks.
I just want to appreciate the curriculum was so well structured and all your presentations were like mind blowing. I mean, for us like beginners, we had no idea. Like in the beginners session, we had no idea what AI was. But then you guys did like a really good job teaching us as beginners and how AI works. And we also did activities to sort of implement it like practically. So that's it. The curriculum is really good. So yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Sen. I'd also love some constructive criticisms. I'll send forth like a form that you can fill out if you have any thoughts or how we can improve the whole experience. So I think that's it. That's all for me.
Thank you, Ashi. Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ashi.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Nanaki. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ashi.
Thanks, Azan. Thanks, everyone.
Ashi, could you show the presentation again? I just need to take a photo of the slide with my name for person record.
Oh yeah, sure. Just 1 sec.
Thanks.
Wait, so who is speaking?
Shubhankar.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. 1 sec. I will send you a certificate though. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I know, but actually there's something.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Of course. Here you go.
Yeah, taken. Thanks. Thanks very
Got
much.
it?
And keep us
Okay.
informed, and I would love to attend more workshops like this. Yeah.
100%. Thanks so much, Shubhankar.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Thanks so much, Rana, by the way. I really loved your presentation. You did an amazing job.
Thank you. I really learned a lot and had so much fun during this camp.
Thank you.